best for you, right? In numerology.
Yes, she is. Reverend Sue Frederick is an ordained unity minister, a master numerologist, and a soul regression therapist.
She's the author of Through a Divine Lens, Bridges to Heaven, and I See Your Dream Job.
You know, her website is so beautiful. It's careerintuitive.org. And we have so much in common with Sue because Adirondack, you know, we're in a whole new avenue of the numbers. And Sue's an official numerologist, in addition to being a minister and an author and a therapist. And, you know, it's so exciting to have Sue with us again. She was on our double digit last year, and we are excited. Please welcome Reverend Sue Frederick.
Oh, thank you all. You all are the best. It is such an honor to be in your energy again now, especially now as we launch 2025.
Yes. So we have one major question right now.
I can't imagine what it is.
Yeah, considering this is airing on January 1st, 2025, we have one major question.
Go ahead.
What in the world is happening? Is it Armageddon? I mean, what do we have to look forward to in this next 12 months?
I tell you, that's the most exciting, juicy question ever. And, you know, I've been on this planet for 73 years, and I have never seen or felt a transition time like we are entering this year of 2025. And I've worked with the numbers, you know, for 40 something years. So I completely trust them. And I completely believe that we, in this year, as we enter a 9 universal year, a very powerful 9. In fact, there's a 5, as we know, at the end of 2025, which means drastic and courageous change. And then we add to that the fact that there's also a 22 in 2025. We bring all of that information together, creating the 9 universal year from that number 2025. And we know that this is a year of dismantling the old. In Hindu tradition, they talk about the god Shiva who destroys the old worlds that need to be destroyed. And yet, there's also other components to this 9. So yes, everybody is correct that this is a year of dismantling the way humans have lived and thought and functioned in the world. However, it's also a surrender to the higher frequency of this 9, which is all about our old soul wisdom, our humanitarian impulse as higher beings, because we all are divine beings. We are not humans. We are simply taking a temporary journey through this crazy, messed up Earth school. And we all agreed to be here this year. Now, if you weren't alive right now, it would be because your soul chose not to be. And if you are alive watching this, it means you agreed to be here now. So don't complain about it.
So true.
And it's time for us to step up to that higher wisdom of the 9, which says, are we acting for the highest good of all? Really, a 9 carries that energy of ultimate soul wisdom. So as we move into this 9, yes, you're going to have to let go of some old opinions, some old belief systems, perhaps, but that is cleaning out the closet for the better and the new to unfold, especially as it comes in 2026. It'll come in then in the 1 universal year in a whole higher frequency. And, you know, the psychics and the channelers call that a whole different, they have terms for it, but it basically means that what we're letting go of now is low frequency life on Earth. And we're all being asked to shift up to the higher frequency. And what that means is your body might be feeling, I've had a lot of health issues this year, and I know it's my body recalibrating for this higher frequency of 2025 that we're moving into, because we can't live as old humans anymore. So what does that really mean if we get down to it? We are not here to hate each other. We know this in our core, no matter how we behave. We're not here to diminish each other, to all the war and destruction that humanity has carried on earth for so long. Take a good look at it, people, because now your higher self put you here to be an angelic minister giving birth to the true nature of life on earth, which is meant to be unconditional love, compassion, wisdom, and understanding. This is a higher frequency than anything we've done collectively on earth before. So your only question is, are you in or not? Because if you're going to stay in the old belief system of discrimination, hatred, blame, all the negativity that's expressing itself very clearly these days, if you're going to stay in that, this will be a rough year for you. There will be a lot of dismantling of your belief system because you'll be learning the higher frequency messages that you're a divine being who came here on purpose to help each other, help every soul on this planet, not just yourself. That is the hard lesson of the 9. And when we surrender to that and open our hearts, we're finally in. I always joke, I'm a child of the 60s, and we came out believing, yeah, we're going to have peace and harmony and love each other. And our music was about that. And then we kind of watched, the 80s come in. It was all about money and power and greed. And now here we are at a precipice of finally learning through all of these cycles on earth that the only important thing here are the higher frequency of love, forgiveness, kindness, and compassion. And yes, we can make our livings doing this. You're not going to starve. You're not going to be poor, all this crazy talk that goes around. But you may be called to quit your meaningless job, or your meaningless job may go away. But that serves you because now you do some inner exploration. My book that you mentioned, I See Your Dream Job. I believe everybody here has a soul purpose, a mission, that they brought their gifts and talents on purpose to make the world a better place through their career. And you can be abundant doing it. But yes, you have to open your heart, take that little step of faith, that leap of faith. And I'll say one thing, we don't get through 2025 without all of us having to take a leap of faith into the goodness, into the higher energy, and not be focused on the dirt, as I call it, of everyday life of just, oh, he said that, she said that, oh, I'm so angry, I'm so blameful. People, we're done with that.
Yay.
It reminds me of when I started working with you, Marilyn, and you said your life is about to change. And it changed so dramatically. So now when I hear that, I'm kind of a little bit like, oh, okay, be gentle.
But you bring up such an important point. When these 9-year reinvention cycles happen, whether they're the universal ones, and I've outlined some of the last universal ones, which I want to talk about, but in our personal life, we each have 9 I'm sorry, I'm so excited I can't slow down enough to speak, but we each have 9-year cycles of personal reinvention in our own journeys. And Marilyn, you know that, you're the numerologist. And when we go back and look at those years of change in our own lives, we realize we couldn't fight that change. That change was going to happen whether we liked it or not.
Yeah.
So our only choice was, were we going to surrender to it and go through it with some grace and love and positive energy and courage? Or were we going to fight it and resist it? And when we resist those times of change, we suffer, we struggle, and the change happens anyway.
Right.
So it makes it pretty clear how we need to go through this. And look at both of you, beautiful shining lights. You've been through so many reinvention points in your life. And I know about your life, Marilyn, you've even had physical car accidents to wake you up.
Yes. Yes.
So we can think about 2025 as kind of being the car accident on earth that shakes us up, wakes us up, and until we finally go, wait a minute, who am I really? Why am I here on earth really? And those are the soul searching questions we're all going to be asking in 2025. And the good news is if you're an aware soul and you've already been asking those things and calling in divine guidance, this will be a good year for you. You will always know what to do. You'll always know how to move through it with light and grace. You know, even if there's great physical conflict on earth, which so many people say there will be, we don't all have to be a part of it. Think about it this way. Every choice we each make every day decides, are we going into the dirt of the humanity, anger, angst, hatred, and all of that? Or are we going to walk through it with love and light and kindness? Our decision determines how it goes for us in our dark night of the soul of humanity in 2025, or in our personal dark nights of the soul. As you look back at your reinvention points, how did you walk through them? Did you bring your intuition, your love, your positive searching for answers, your courage? That's what you're being asked to do now.
I love that.
That is so beautiful.
Yeah.
That's and you know, you take the fear out of all the changes. You know,
Well,
because change.
Marilyn, I made a little chart here. And it's
Oh,
not
good,
good.
Share chart.
But I just wanted to say our last 9 universal year, and I'm talking about universal years here, was 2016. And do you remember that is really when Donald Trump came seriously into the picture for
That's
president?
right,
He was
yeah.
elected in November of 2016. Do you remember how that changed the whole conversation on earth? It
Yeah.
did, for better or worse. It doesn't matter what you feel about it, people. It changed everything. That was a 9 year. 2017 was a 1 universal year. Now we're at the end of that. So you can think back to everything that's happened here since 2017, and it comes to an end in 2025. Then a whole new phase begins. That is so clear when you look at it that way. And guess what the last 9 universal year was before 2016? It was 2007. Those of you who have been around for a while remember the mortgage crash.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was 2007. And I'll go back one more of these. 1998. Do you remember the dot-com crash? I was part of that. I worked for a big VP of content for a big website. And back then, websites had all these stock investors and all of this stuff. And then suddenly that dot-com world crashed and I lost my job. And I know many people did. And that shows you how big and dramatic these changes can be. But again, we move through them with grace and we find ourselves, if that hadn't happened to me personally, I wouldn't have launched my great spiritual numerology work that I do today. And I would not be happy and I would not be fulfilled. So these crashes serve us in the longer view of our life.
Absolutely. I've been thinking back in 1998. That was when I didn't pay attention to it until 99, but that was when the Adirondack started trying to get in contact with me, and that paved the way to me channeling. So yeah, that's powerful.
Cool. That is so cool.
Yeah, it's so cool. So
And there is
cool.
one other one I'll share, and then I'll shut up, I promise. You guys remember 1989? I remember vividly, I was a health editor at a magazine and a publishing company, kind of a normal job. And I remember my boss walking in and sitting down at my computer and saying, I want to show you something, Sue. And he pulled up, he showed me what was it called? The World Wide Web. And he said, seriously, that was 1989. And do you remember how that changed everything?
Oh, yeah.
That's another 9 universal year.
Wow. Wow, it's
So
interesting to
everybody
look at
is
that.
right. It's going to change everything. But in the long run, it changes it for the better.
Absolutely. I mean, that 1989, I quit my day job and I got my master's degree. It's, got, whoo.
I think 1989, I was a graphic designer and bought a Mac Plus. It was like such a big deal. And
I remember that. I remember because I worked at a publishing company and I was the editor, and these Mac Plus computers were the spiffy new thing.
And remember, Sue, you didn't have to get typeset anymore. Remember?
Don't tell everybody
You became the typesetter.
Yeah, that was when another one of our guests, Lee Carroll, started channeling in 1989.
Wow.
Yeah,
I mean,
so
really, see, all of this is good, and yes, people are going to talk about the bad side of it, and everything has a dark side, but it also, like my picture behind me, it also has light, and it's what are we going to focus on? Well, I've learned the hard way in my long life here that it only makes things worse if I focus on the darkness, and yes, I'll have my pitiful days when I'll focus on the darkness. But then I'll pull myself back up to find the light from the higher perspective. We can all do that. And when we do, things get better, things go better, and we feel better. And we're able to walk through whatever we have to walk through with a lot more love and courage.
Yeah, it absolutely is a choice, isn't it? You know, you can choose to get stuck on the darkness or to step into the light, and you immediately feel the difference.
exactly, and it's so wonderful. So, Sue, if you were going to give one essential piece of advice that's going to get everybody through the next year, 2025, what exactly would it be?
Focus on your loving, whether you have a cat to love or a family to love or a home or a backyard or a mountain to climb. Focus on the love you can focus on in your life. You know, my husband and I talk about this a lot because we're these radical liberals in a world of our neighborhood being the opposite. And so what do we do to make ourselves happy? Well, we have our great movies we watch, our cats we love on, the food we love, and the people and the friends who we do cherish, you know, that we connect with. You have to bring your view down. You have to almost only focus on those things. You know, I've had to stop. I used to be a journalist, so I lived in newsrooms. Now I have to just focus on, oh, wow, there's a football game tonight, and suddenly I'm finding joy in football again. Like, whatever it takes, I'm going to find my joy. And that's what we have to do to get through this year.
I love that. That is so great. Thank you. Thank you so much, Sue. It's a pleasure always to talk with you, and it's a pleasure to see you. And we will play again.
Absolutely.
I guarantee it.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you for being here, Reverend Sue. You were so much fun, and I love listening to your